Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and this is episode 276 of the world famous The University of Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call it online marketing moves, and we are coming to you live today. Today is Monday, May the 10th, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, I was doing some research today on the podcast, and I looked at my phone. And it said you have done 285 episodes. So I am going to have to go back and count all these episodes so we can get an accurate count, because I don't want to look like a goofball saying 276 when it's really 285. All right. So tonight I will go back and count, and then by tomorrow we will have the accurate count of the episodes. But ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing today? Today is a new week. It's Monday, everybody. Come on in, come on in, come on in. You know, I was thinking yesterday, I was watching golf as I do on Sundays, and I was watching Rory McIlroy. He won the Wells Fargo tournament championship. I think they call it tournament championship, one of the two. But it has been 18 months since he won a tournament. And it got me to thinking. It says, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you ever played golf before, but I watched a lot of golf when I was a kid. Didn't play much of it because, I couldn't afford any golf. Couldn't afford any golf clubs. So, I didn't have a golf course to play on. So I didn't play a lot of golf when I was a kid, but I watched a lot of it. And I remember the first time I got to go to a driving range and hit golf balls, and I thought it was the coolest thing. But I watched it so much on TV, I was like, this can't be that hard, right? And then so I stepped up. I remember I stepped up and I hit it, and I hit it. I mean, I hit it good, but the only problem I have when it comes to golf, I slice the majority. I slice the majority of my balls because in my mind, I used to play a lot of baseball. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, this is kind of like baseball. But I'm always like sort of late. I slice it so much, and I'm just like, what can I now when I do the few times that I hit it flush, it's like it's sort of beautiful in a way, without any, not that I'm patting myself on the back, because by no means am I like, a golfing pro or anything like that. Not even close. But I'm like, damn, when I do hit the ball, I hit it beautifully. Like I hit it far and it's nice looking, and I'm like, oh, okay. But the only problem is, the connection is not quite there. It's not like I grew up playing baseball. I can pull the ball, I can hit the ball the opposite way. I can do that on purpose. You know what I mean? Like I have that kind of down pat. I play a lot of baseball, but golf, no. And I'm just thinking to myself, golf is definitely hard. And one of the articles that I decided I was going to write this month is about golf and about the shadow that Tiger Woods left on golf. Is it good for golf? Is it bad for golf? But anyway, I just got to thinking about that. How difficult, like some things when you look at you know how, because we all watch sports. Well, a lot of us, we watch them, we play them. This and that and the other. Anything that you try that you might have seen on TV. From you when you because whenever we see these basketball players, and you're like, so and so, he's a bum. Like we've all, if anybody that watches sports, you have uttered those lines at somebody, of course, because well, you're a fan first off, and so you do get angry about your team. You just want your team to win, and you're like, what is this? What are they paying this guy for? This guy's a bum. He's a bum. But it's so amazing how, like, every basketball player, like basketball, to be in the NBA, you have to be in the top 1%. Like, you have to be the best of the best. Like, of course, I'm talking about in the United States. I don't know the world, but I'm sure that the top 1% of the NBA players are the top 1% of the world. There might be a couple of people that aren't in the NBA, but for the most part, what I'm saying is if I decided I could lace up with the 12th man on any team and he would beat me like 100-0. I might get one bucket. I might luck up and drop a lucky three, but for the most part, they would dominate all of us. But the point is, it's so crazy how you're sitting there, you're watching, and like LeBron James is the top 1% of the top 1%. It's amazing. It's amazing how like these things work, and sometimes when you're watching these sports and people are in the top 1%, it depends on, because some people making it to the NBA is enough. They're like, hey, my financial situation changed. Boom, I got money now. Boom, that's it. Some people take the foot off the gas as soon as they get to the NBA. I don't know if you watch a lot of football, but I remember when Jamarcus Russell, he came out. He was a top draft pick in the NFL, Jamarcus Russell. He came from LSU. Now, me personally, I didn't think he was going to be a good NFL quarterback, because I'm like, he's okay in college, like he was good, but it wasn't like blowing you away. And a lot of times in college, you have to watch it because, yeah, he's 6'4", he's 260 pounds, but there's not many quarterbacks as big as him, as strong as him, and they don't have his arm was excellent, and he looked like a world beater when he played in Notre Dame, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, how much football does he like football? What's going to happen when he gets to the NFL? And I just didn't think he was going to be that good. But Oakland drafted him number 1, and of course, they said once he got to Oakland, he wanted to hold out. I was like, oh, that's red flag number 2. And he wanted a lot of money in the beginning, and you can see and then you start hearing about his work ethic, and it wasn't great, and he sort of flamed out. So some people were like LeBron James, they want to be the best of the best, and some people like Jamarcus Russell. They're like, hey man, I made it. That's good enough for me. Where's my money? And I'm gone. And then some people are misunderstood, like who I always thought was a great player, but they had like one incident, and to me, they sort of got railroaded, and that's Steven Jackson. I thought Steven Jackson was one of the best. I think Steven Jackson could have been in the Hall of Fame, but he's very misunderstood, and they had the whole palace, the malice in the palace, and they try to label him a troublemaker and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, he was protecting his teammate. But so there's different labels, there's different categories people are put in, and when it comes to online marketing, it's sort of the same thing. Now, there are people who want to be the best of the best, you know what I mean? And there are some people who they're going to make a lot of money and then they're going to sort of disappear, because you see it all the time. And I used to see this guy on YouTube, and I think from the affiliate marketing, he made like $1 million off of one company, and he hasn't posted a video in forever. And I'm like, oh, maybe he just decided, hey man, I'm out, And some people, they make it and they're like, nah, that's it. I'm never. And then there's another guy I saw. He made a pretty good amount of money on with one company, and then he definitely faded, sort of fell back on the videos. Like I don't follow him anymore, but his video content definitely like dwindled down to like once every blue moon. But it's just how it is for some people, and for me, it just depends on who we are, and it depends on your situation. Like, and give you another example. I watched this. You ever seen the movie Rush? There's a movie called Rush by Ron Howard, and it's a very good movie. It's about these 2 Formula One race drivers, Nicky Lauda and James Hunt. And they had the movie they showed in the 1976 F1 race season, and James Hunt, he won, and he sort of bowed out after that. Like he was never going to win again, and I think he's hung out for like 2 more years, and I think he just was like, yeah, forget about it, and quit. But Nicky Lauda, he won, and he kept racing and racing. Like racing for him was not about winning one time. It was about winning over and over, and and keep trying and trying and trying to win more and more. And you know, it's different strokes for different folks. You know what I mean? So when you come into this internet marketing, this online marketing, and you become successful, you become the tops. There's a few ways you can go. You can stay with it, or you can sort of fade out, or you could try something else. You could try something new. The point is, there's no wrong way, there's no right way to do this whole internet business. You know, what if you make $1 million and you're like, hey, I want to invest this money, and you invest the money and let's say you take, you know, you make quite a bit of money off affiliate marketing and all that kind of stuff, and then you want to take some money and you invest it, and the investment you make is like, you know, you come out ahead like $5, $7, $10 million. You know, like some people, they're gonna be like, that's it. You know, I don't want any more. I don't need any more. I'm good. This is where I stop. You know, and they just sort of fade out into the sunset. And for some people, they're gonna be like, you know what, I want to keep going. You know, and for some people, it's sort of like, and for some people, that might be their peak. It's 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 like the Jelly Belly Man. If you ever seen this documentary, it's this cool documentary I watched about, because my favorite candy, it will always be Jelly Bellies. I love Jelly Bellies, and popcorn Jelly Belly if you want to get me anything, by the way. But no. But this guy, he was like the candy man, and he came up with this idea, and it was his one idea, and he monetized it, and he could have made a lot of money, but you know, he got involved with this guy, and the guy was like, hey, we want to buy you out for like $1 million. And he sold, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna come up with another good idea. But he has come up with different stuff since then, but nothing is good, nothing is popular as the Jelly Belly. So, you know, for him, that was his one good idea. And for some of us, we might have one good idea, you know. And some people, they have a lot of ideas. It's sort of like when George Carlin, he was talking about comedy specials. He's like, you know, comedians, they have like 3 or 4 good comedy specials in them, you know. But some people, I mean, you see like Kevin Hart, he has like, you know, Good, Bad, and Different. He has like a comedy special every year. It's amazing. I don't know if he writes his own stuff or what, but he comes out with a comedy special like every year. It's quite amazing. Some people like Chris Rock, and they come out every 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 years, you know. Who knows? But we are all different, and it just depends on who you are. It just depends on what your situation is. Now, me personally, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. You know, this becomes successful, I would definitely want to stick with it. I'm not. I would do a pod, like the podcast will always be there, because I like doing the podcast. Like, I love the podcast. The other stuff, I definitely can do without. You know what I mean? Like the social media, I don't mind the emailing, that's cool. But the social media and all that kind of stuff, once I get established, I'm definitely not gonna be doing a whole lot of that after a while. Like, I don't care about that. But the podcast, I love the podcast. Videos, I'll do them now because I have to. But after a while, I probably won't do them. I probably don't care. Podcast I love because it's intimate. It's you. It's me. It's just us talking. It's just us vibing. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's cool. It works. It's good. It's it's up my alley. You know what I mean? And for you, this whole episode is about finding what works for you. You know, making yourself comfortable. You know, you you want to stretch yourself. Yeah, you have to stretch yourself. Don't get me wrong, but you want to figure out what you can do, you know, in the beginning to really hone in, you know, your skills. You really want to get down to what can work for you quickly, you know, because the more success you get in the beginning, the more confidence you will have, and the better it will be for you. Because the one thing about this, and the reason why a lot of people quit, is because they don't have any confidence. And confidence is, you know, let's say, like the first 30 days I recorded this, you know, this is just for the first 30 days I recorded this. I didn't have any listeners really. And I was like, you know what? we're gonna keep going. But now I have a lot of confidence, and the confidence is there. And I know as soon as I upload, somebody's gonna download it. It might not be 3,000 downloads a day, but I know people are gonna upload it. And I know eventually they're gonna catch up, and they're gonna learn that this is one of the best podcasts that they can listen to. Like I know that, like that is in me, and that's what I hope for you. Like confidence is fleeting, but the more you get of it, the better off you will be. I'm not saying you have to become an ass, you develop an ego, but you definitely want to get confidence in what you're doing. And I will tell you this: when it comes to affiliate marketing, when it comes to online marketing, when it comes to all this stuff, the most important thing that you can do is figure out what you want to do in the beginning. Now, I'm not saying you have to stick with it, but figure out one thing and then go with that and take it as far as you think you can take it. You know what I mean? Like, don't stop. Don't try to do 9 different things. Don't try to do e-commerce. Don't try to do affiliate marketing. Don't try to do this. Don't try to do that. Figure out what you want to do, and then figure out the content that you want to create around this situation. Whether it's e-commerce, whether it's affiliate marketing, figure out, hey, do I want to write a blog? Figure out, hey, do I want to do videos in the beginning? Hey, do I want to do a podcast? Figure that out and then work your way to the other stuff. Don't, try to do, because it don't work. Don't try to do 1,000 videos and 1,000 podcasts all in one day, Relax. We talked about this yesterday. Time is infinite. I mean, time is forever, You see a tree outside, they're not, they don't have clocks, Time is, yeah, we are pressed for time, but at the same time, we are not pressed for time, Like, I wish I would have known this early on in my life, and I would have been, I'd be I'd be a little better off than what I am now. But it is what it is, God bless. But I'm here now, and I have figured it out, and I want the same for you. And so, if you're of the age of like 18, 19, doesn't matter, but yeah, you can get hit by a bus tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, majority of us are not going to get hit by a bus. A lot of us are not going to die at the age of 19. A lot of us are not going to die at the age of 19. Some of us are going to live to we're 55. Some of us are going to live to we're 75. Some of you, God bless, are going to live to you're 95. Some people are going to live to 105. What I'm saying is, take your time, figure something out, figure out what you want to do, pick the situation, and then start creating content. And we talked about this before, and we will talk about this. We will talk about this until the cows come home. You ain't got to be an expert, and you ain't got to be, the know all, end all, be all of everything. But the content you can produce can come from you, come from the heart, come from your mind, your spirit. It comes from your life. We all have a uniqueness about us. Everybody's path, everybody's journey in life ain't the same. Me and my brother, we grew up together. We lived in the same effing house. Me and my brother shared a bed. We hung out. Me and my brother spent a lot of time together. Me and him have 2 different stories about life. You know what I mean? Like, so don't ever think, oh man, I got the same. It's just like when you see people, like if you tell me I grew up in a nice neighborhood and my parents did this and did that, and you still have struggles. You know what I mean? Your struggles might be different than mine. a lot of my struggles are financial struggles. You know what I mean? Growing up kind of, in the poor environment, a poor place, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Your struggle might be different. Your struggle might be, something else. But the point is, we're all unique. None of us are the same. We're not clones. And once you figure all this stuff out, once you figure it out, take it from there. It's just like affiliate marketing. Figure out what you want to do. Figure out what kind of affiliate marketing do you want to get into, and then get into it. Like go for it full force. Don't put one toe in to say. The worst thing you can do is this whole internet business. The worst thing you can do is the entrepreneur is say, let me try it out. Let me see if it'll work. As soon as you say, let me see if it's going to work, it ain't nothing going to work, okay? You have to be fully engaged in whatever you are trying to do. The more engaged you are, the better off you will be, Focus on it and go for it. Don't ever let me hear you say, let me see if this will work. My brother used to say that quite often. Let me see if this will work. Let's see if this will work. It ain't gonna work. Like it don't work. Like it ain't happening. You know what I mean? Like my brother said it so many times. I would say, hey man, let's start this. Let's get a business going. And he said, let's see if it works. I'm like, it ain't gonna work though. Like, hell, if you ain't all in, then what are we doing? Like, if we're not committed, then what are we doing? You know, I've had to think about this a lot in life. Like, I used to go poop. Kind of. I don't know. I don't really care. No, I do care. Like in the beginning, because you don't want to get and a lot of times it's about pride and it's about I don't want to get my feelings hurt. So it's sort of like being in a relationship. It's sort of like if you liking a girl, if you like a woman, you like this woman, and instead of you just saying, hey man, I like you, I want to be with you, like I love you, I think the world of you, you go, eh. You know why? Because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want your little feelings to get hurt. So you're like, you're good. Nah. You either really like a person or you don't. There's not an in between. Like when I met my wife, I knew I really liked her, and in like 3 months, I knew I loved the woman. You know what I mean? Like I was in love with her in like 3 months. Like don't tell my wife this, but I knew I was in love with her. But at the same time, I was so scared because I never had this feeling before. You know what I mean? Like I knew she was the one. I'm just like, Jesus. I'm like, if I tell her all this, because you don't want to look like a goofball. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't want to look like a goofball, but I was almost 30 years old at the time. I'm like, what am I, sometimes we have to just own up to something, like I like you. I like doing this podcast. I like talking to you. Like I love it. And I love you for listening. I appreciate it. Like I'm not ashamed of that. Like, and people sometimes are sort of like, listen. If you don't listen, I don't care. Like, yeah, I do care. Like I care about this podcast, and I care about where this podcast is going, and I care about us traveling as a family, and I care about us becoming and when I say this is the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies, that's not a joke. You know what I mean? Like I'm not joking. Like that's really what I think, and I appreciate you for listening. And I know this is the beginning stages of this, and I know we are going places. I know this podcast is going places, and I know I'm going places, and I hope that you come with me. And like, don't have nothing. Like, don't put one foot in. It's sort of like, I'm working this job and all that, and if it wasn't for my wife and if she wasn't pregnant, I'll be honest with you. Like, yeah, I know, we give advice on this show and try to help you out and everything like that, and sometimes. Because sometimes you want to have a plan, like don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's sort of like, what in life, sometimes you just have to go for it, like it. Yeah, you want to make sure that you got a little, savings, or you want to make sure that you got enough to survive, for month, a couple months, like you don't want to just be like, F it, I got $0, but I'm gonna make it happen. Because no, we need a few bucks to get this whole thing started, but at the same time. Like, and I know I told my wife, I love my wife to death, but I know I told her that, and then I'm just talking to you. I'm just talking to you from a very honest perspective right now. And I know that I told you that my wife said 4 months. If I make $10,000 in 4 months, and let me tell you something. After about 2 months of that, I'm telling my wife, look, sister, I quit. Because once you like, even now, I could quit now because I know, like, this podcast, we get busy, and this podcast is only going to get better, and everything we do is only going to get better. You know what I mean? And so I could quit now. I got enough dough to say, but my wife, she's sort of a kind of a worried person, and she's pregnant, so I don't want to stress the woman out, so I wouldn't do it to her now. But if she wasn't pregnant and that kind of stuff, man, I would just say, F this job, you know what I mean, and quit. But, it is what it is. But, once you get confident And once you get, once you really get to going, and once you figure out, hey man, this is what I love doing, man. Like, get busy. Like, don't wait around. Don't hesitate, man. Get busy. Like, come on. Like, when I was writing this story last week, and I was writing it, and I was like, you know what? I like writing. Like, I'm about to get off the phone. I'm about to get off this podcast now, with you, and I'm gonna write this story I've been thinking about the golf, and the Tiger Woods and all this kind of stuff. And I'm gonna write it out, and I'm gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna listen to my little, Willie Nelson music. For some reason, I write better when I listen to Willie Nelson. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, for you, like we talked about before, we talked about this in the beginning. You think of yourself. Don't think of yourself as, even no matter what you do, you start off with. You say, hey man, I'm a 1%er, man. Like I'm in the top 1%. I'm the best of the best. You think of yourself as that man. Don't think of yourself as no schlub. Don't think of yourself as no scrub. Come up off that, man. Like come up off all that. Like, no, you're the best of the best, man. We are the best of the best. You are the best. And don't hesitate, figure out what you want to do, figure out where you want to go, and put both feet in. Don't, e-commerce might work, soon as you say something might work, it ain't gonna work, like I'm telling you, like, oh man, how many times my brother told me that, oh, it might work, let's see if it works, and then it don't work. Sorry. Listen, I gotta plug up my computer, so this is gonna be 3 seconds. You're gonna hear me talking away from the microphone for about 3 seconds. All right. I'm scooting over right now. Scooting over. This is why this is the best podcast in 3 galaxies. Oh man! All right, we're back. We are back. Plugged up, ready to go. Booyah. Now, but yeah. So once you figure that stuff out, go for it. And then once you get to where you're going, once you make a lot of money. Let's say you make over $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, however much money you want to make. Then there's another road you want to take. Then you figure that part out. What do I want to do now? Now I'm financially secure. I'm financially, once you make $1 million, I'm pretty sure you're debt free. Once you're debt free, that's the beauty of the whole thing. Like, that's why we're here, time freedom, financial freedom, nobody wants to be in debt. I'm telling you, I've been reading that book. You don't want to be a slave. You don't want to be a slave to credit. Like, you don't want to have to be in a hole, like that's like, hey, listen, trust me, I know it's a pain when these people call you about bills and, hey, you owe me this, you owe me that. It's like, I can't wait to get, in the cash and the all the way cash business. Okay, I have a couple things I have to take care of myself, but I'm looking forward to never going back, and I say never. I'm looking forward to never going back to, getting car loans and all that kind of stuff. Like it's such a headache. You know what I mean? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the podcast. This podcast is today is about you, and it's about, being a 1%er, like you're the top of the tops. All right. And it's also about figuring out where you want to go, and it's about getting some confidence, and it's about putting both feet in, like go for it. Like don't wait around, don't hesitate. Go for what you know. And then you're gonna become a success. Listen, I know this. You're gonna become successful. And then there's another road you have to take. What should I do then? You're either going to keep going at it, you're going to keep going at it, or you're going to do something different, or you're just going to sort of fade into the oblivion. It's up to you. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Online Marketing Moves. We will be back tomorrow with another passion-filled episode. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, go to Online Marketing Moves wherever you get your podcast and give us 5 stars, all right? Or just subscribe. But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with an all-new episode. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. And as always, everybody, peace.